He didn't see her. Not really. Every single morning, she made his coffee exactly the way he liked it. She kept his home running like clockwork. She was always there, always present, always invisible. And he walked past her like she was part of the furniture. But one night, one single dinner changed absolutely everything. And honestly, what happened at that table? Nobody saw it coming. Not him, not the investors, and definitely not her. Welcome back to Romantic Stories, the only place where real love hits different, where the most unexpected people find each other in the most unexpected moments. If this is your first time here, you are in for something special tonight. And if you have been here before, you already know we do not do ordinary love stories on this channel. So settle in, get comfortable, because this one is going to stay with you. His name was Julian, 38 years old, self-made, the kind of man whose name made other men straighten their ties and check their phones nervously. He had built everything from nothing: sharp instincts, relentless drive, a mind that never stopped calculating. From the outside, Julian had it all. But from the inside, he was hollow. He was tired. Tired of women who looked at his bank account before they looked at his face. Tired of dinner tables full of people who wanted something from him. Tired of being surrounded by everyone and still feeling completely, utterly alone. His housekeeper was a woman named Clara. Quiet, efficient, invisible. That was how he thought of her, if he thought of her at all. She had worked in his home for 2 years, and in 2 years, he had never once asked her a single personal question. Not one. And that right there? That tells you everything you need to know about where Julian was as a person before that night. It started with a phone call. His business partner bailed. Last minute. No warning. And Julian had a high-stakes merger dinner in 4 hours with the Thompson brothers, 2 of the most ruthless investors in the country. Hundreds of millions of dollars sitting on the table. And suddenly, no one to sit beside him. He paced his living room, jaw tight, phone pressed to his ear, calling everyone he knew. Nobody was available. In a moment of pure desperation, he stopped pacing, looked up, and saw Clara walking quietly through the hallway. And something shifted in his brain. Not something romantic. Not yet. Something purely practical, purely selfish. He needed a warm body in a chair. Someone who would sit there, look decent, and keep her mouth shut. He looked at her, cold and commanding. I need a date for a business dinner tonight. Get ready. Clara stopped. She turned to face him, her expression completely unreadable. He held out a credit card without even looking at her properly. Go buy a dress. Something presentable. And when we get there, he paused, his voice dropping like a warning. You don't say a word. Now here is the part one need you to really sit with. Clara picked up that card. And she nodded. She did not flinch. She did not argue. She simply nodded, because she was used to this. Used to being treated like a prop in other people's stories. Used to fading into the background. Used to being seen without ever being truly noticed. But what Julian did not know, what he could not have possibly imagined, was exactly who Clara was before she became invisible. We will get to that. Trust me, it is worth the wait. That evening, they walked into a restaurant that felt like stepping into another world. Glass walls suspended high above the city. Candlelight bouncing off crystal. The quiet, confident hum of people who had never once worried about money. Julian's introduction was flat, almost insulting. This is Clara. No last name. No title. No context. Just, this is Clara. Across the table, the Thompson brothers exchanged a look. The older one, the one with the cold eyes and the colder smile, leaned slightly toward his brother and said, just loud enough, did he really bring the help? The table heard it. Julian heard it. Clara heard it. And here's what I love most about Clara in this moment. She did not look down. She did not shrink. She lifted her chin, kept her eyes steady, and she sat in that chair like she had every right in the world to be there. Because she did. But Julian? Julian felt something he had not expected to feel. Shame. Hot. Uncomfortable. Can't look away shame. Because in that moment, he realized that the way the Thompson brothers were treating Clara was exactly the way he treated her every single day. And hearing it out loud, seeing it reflected in someone else's cruelty, it did not feel clever or powerful. It felt ugly. The dinner was a disaster. The negotiations fell apart fast. The Thompson brothers tore into Julian's financial model like wolves, pointing out what they called a fatal flaw, a deep, structural error in the overseas asset projections that Julian's entire team had somehow missed. The deal was unraveling in real time. Hundreds of millions of dollars, months of work, Julian's reputation, all of it sliding toward the edge of the table. Julian was fighting to hold it together, scrambling for angles, recalculating on the fly, but the Thompsons were relentless. Every answer he gave, they had a sharper question ready. He was losing. And then, from beside him, a calm and steady voice cut straight through the noise. "You are misinterpreting the international tax code." The entire table went silent. Not just quiet. Silent. The kind of silence that only happens when something completely unexpected just walked into the room. Every single head turned to Clara. Julian's face drained of color. His voice dropped to a hiss. "What did you say?" She ignored him. Not rudely. Not dramatically. She simply turned to the tablet on the table, pulled it toward her, and began to work. "Your projections are based on an outdated depreciation model for overseas assets," she said, her voice clear, confident, and completely unbothered. "But if you restructure the subsidiary holdings and apply the current fiscal loophole in the Singaporean market, you do not just fix the error." She looked up. "You increase the net profit by almost 15%. You could have heard a pin drop. The Thompson brothers, the same men who had mocked her 20 minutes ago, sat completely still. The condescending smirks? Gone. The cold, calculating eyes? Wide open. The one who had called her the help was now staring at her like he was seeing her for the very first time. Because he was. They all were. The analysis was flawless. The solution was not just correct, it was brilliant. It was the kind of insight that does not come from reading a textbook. It comes from years of living inside that world, breathing that world, being one of the best in that world. The deal was not just saved. It was better than it had ever been. Okay, real talk. I need to pause here for 1 second. Because I know some of you are watching this and thinking, okay, but is this actually realistic? Can someone really just walk into a high-stakes business dinner and flip the whole thing like that? And the answer is yes. 100% yes. But only if that person has spent years becoming exactly that good, and then spent years letting the world forget it. Which is exactly what Clara had done. And that is what makes this story hit so differently. Because the most dangerous person in the room was the one everyone had already dismissed. Drop a fire emoji in the comments right now if you have ever been underestimated by someone who later regretted it. Because I have a feeling this comment section is about to get very interesting. The car ride home was a different kind of quiet. Not the comfortable silence of two people who know each other well. Not the tense silence of an argument waiting to happen. This was something else entirely. This was the silence of a man sitting inside the rubble of everything he thought he knew. Julian drove. He did not speak for a long time. Clara watched the city lights blur past her window, and she waited. Finally, he broke. "Who are you?" Not aggressive. Not demanding. Just, honestly, genuinely, who are you? Clara was quiet for a moment. Then she said it simply, softly, like it was a story she had told herself so many times it no longer had sharp edges. "I used to be a senior financial strategist on Wall Street. One of the best, actually." Julian's hands tightened on the wheel. "But that world," she continued, "it takes more than it gives. After a personal tragedy, I just wanted a quiet life. A life where nobody knew my name." Julian did not say anything for a long moment. He was thinking about every morning she had handed him his coffee. Every evening, she had moved quietly through his home. Every single time he had walked past her without a second glance. He had looked at her every day for 2 years, and he had never once seen her. "I am so sorry, Clara." His voice was low and rough, and she could hear something in it she had never heard from him before. Not politeness. Not professionalism. Sincerity. "I have been a complete fool." He pulled the car to a stop outside his home, but neither of them moved to get out. "I would like to take you to dinner again," he said finally. He turned to look at her properly, maybe for the first time. "But this time as my guest. No business. No deals. I would like to hear your story." Pause. Think about what he is really saying in this moment. He is not asking for another placeholder. He is not looking for a prop. He is sitting in the dark, a man who has spent years being surrounded by people who wanted things from him, asking a woman he completely underestimated if she will give him the chance to actually know her. That is vulnerability. Real, uncomfortable, no safety net vulnerability. And for Clara, who had spent years making herself small, years fading into the background, years building walls so high that no one could see over them, for the first time in a long time, A real smile spread across her face. Warm, genuine, unguarded. "I would like that," she said. And just like that, in a quiet car on a quiet street, with the city glittering all around them, everything shifted. They were not a millionaire and his housekeeper anymore. They were just two people. Two people who had both been carrying heavy things for a long time. Two people on the edge of something neither of them had planned for. A beginning. Now here is the question I want every single one of you to think about before you close this video. How many people in your life are you walking past every single day without truly seeing them? How many Claras are there in your world? People who have entire lifetimes of experience, of pain, of brilliance, of beauty that you have never once asked about? And on the other side of that question, how many of you are the Clara in this story? Someone who made yourself small to survive. Someone who stopped letting people see you because the last time you let someone in, it cost you everything? This is why we are here on Romantic Stories. Not just for the butterflies and the sweet moments, but for the truth underneath all of it. Real love does not start with a perfect first impression. Sometimes it starts with an apology. Sometimes it starts with finally seeing someone who was there all along. If this story moved you, if it made you feel something, I need you to do one thing right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because we have stories coming to this channel that are going to completely blow your mind. Stories about real love, messy love, unexpected love, the kind of love that actually changes people. You do not want to miss a single one. But before you go, I have one last question for you, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments below. What do you think happens next for Julian and Clara? Does she let him in? Does she keep her walls up? Does he prove that he has really changed? Or does the old Julian come back the moment things get comfortable? And here is the controversial one. Be honest. Do you think a man like Julian can actually change? Or do people like him only act differently when they need something? I want to hear what you think. Drop your answer in the comments. Fight it out down there. I will be reading every single one. And if you believe, the way I believe, that a person's worth is never defined by their job title, that being underestimated is not the end of your story, and that the most unexpected love is often the most real, then this channel was made for you.